One. Good morning. Good morning. How you doing? This is Coach Karvell Bailey, and this is a special morning episode of Life in Basketball. And on this show, we talk about how life and basketball are synergistic and how we use basketball to transform our lives and the lives of others that we touch. And today is a special finals edition. If you haven't had a chance to pick up my book, Understanding Life Through the Game of Basketball, go and pick it up. But today I have a couple special guests, and I'm gonna ask them some questions. I'm gonna bring in the experts today for y'all. So my first guest I want to present, originally from the 815 Rockford, Illinois, now by way of Dearborn, Michigan. I want to introduce to some and present to others Coach Doc Cornell. Doc, how you doing this morning?
Good. How you doing?
I'm doing amazing, man. I am doing amazing. And our next guest, he is doing it on his way to help, as he does so many athletes earn scholarships. All right, this guy is a scholarship magnet. He gonna get you prepared physically so that you can get that scholarship. My main man, Kris Calmese. Kris, how you doing this morning, bro?
Doing well. Good morning.
Good morning. So, both of you brothers, I thank you for your time. We all got things to do this morning, but let's talk the finals. First of all, Doc, being from the 815, and I asked you earlier, how much sleep did you get? And you said you didn't get a whole lot of sleep. Just to give people a little bit of background on you and what the 815 means to you. Can you break that down, Doc? Like, tell them what the 815 is. How does that relate to the finals and what it means to you?
Well, one is it's a real big. It was a real big thing for Fred and for the city. With Rockford, having so much negativity, towards it. And everybody always talking about Rockford and putting it down.
Right.
It was a great positive feeling. It was a great, feeling for all of us. Being with family. Not only just, I got an opportunity to coaching in AAU from 7th grade all the way up. It's just his dad, my cousin, welcomed me with open arms and let me. His mom allowed me to coach him. So it was a great special feeling. One long time coming.
Not bad.
Okay. Now on the flip side, tell me what was most enjoyable watching this, Doc, and what was most difficult?
The most joyous was, just him out there, period.
Okay.
I can tell people just him being there, he had already, won.
Right.
I
right.
would say all the time that his story was written, long before, and all he had to do was continue to play his part. And that was just, the biggest thing. It was just a joy to see him out there and just being himself. The same, young man that we grew up watching. That we just, we watched him now go from a 13-year-old to a 23-year-old.
Okay.
Whatever. So that it was a great feeling. I think the hardest part was at times when I knew what he could do with the ball.
Okay.
And him not having the ball in his hands, I knew at crunch time. I bet against Fred one time. One time I took the ball out of his hands and we lost the game.
Oh.
And I said never ever again. He told me then in the 8th grade, he walked past, he said, "Coach, everybody not made for these moments."
Wow.
And
wow.
that was the only in the first and last time I ever bet against Fred. So last night it was, and throughout the series, it was a couple of times where I was like, "Oh, go get the ball." But, that's just Fred being, Fred, a catalyst, old school point guard, running things and making sure he's making the right basketball play and being, unselfish.
Okay. In the 8th grade, he walked past you and said, "Everybody not built for these moments, huh?"
Yes, and I learned quick, fast, and in a hurry.
Okay,
Not
now,
to ever doubt it.
not to ever doubt him. Now, Kris, I know that you do an exceptional job with all your clients, and your work is different from any other personal trainer. But in that, you have an eye for different things when it comes to a player's actual strength and what could help them be better, what could help them be worse. Let's talk about the Toronto Raptors, and this is not just about Toronto Raptors, but when you look at the makeup, the body composition of a Fred VanVleet and even Kyle Lowry, like bulkier, like stronger guards. How does that help athletically those individuals?
So it's been a myth that guys are supposed to be completely shredded to play basketball.
Okay.
There are a lot of trainers, man, that'll try to sell you on making their athletes more bulky and bigger
Right.
and like muscular. But when in fact, it's the body mass itself that takes the impact, and it is the fat in the frame that the body feeds upon when
Okay.
deficient. So, like, our bodies has multiple sources of energy, starting with carbohydrates, and then calories, carbohydrates, and then fat. Um, and you got to consider that pattern in training. Like Kyle Lowry has always been a very, very overweight guard. So
Okay.
was, but Dwayne Wade became that way and became almost unstoppable.
Okay.
Um, when guys put on weight, we think of muscle alone, but it really is about how much fat that body can contain with that muscle and still be functional. But it's
Mm,
not safe to be overweight though. So
right.
like Kyle Lowry is overweight up top, but his legs are a lot smaller than you would think. He's not as
Okay.
big as as thick as you would think. He's a heavier, more dense frame, like James Harden has had for a long time. Like
Okay.
James Harden leaned out a little bit, but he still sustained a good deal of fat because it takes impact better. And you find that the guys who are getting injured the most are the guys who have the least amount of body fat.
Okay. And so now let's talk about that. And the reason why, again, I consider you my resident expert, and we talk often. And I know that you cringe when I first put the two words together, injury prevention. He was like, Karvell, you really can't, injuries happen. There's things that you can do to help with that. Let's talk about the Clay, and then I'm gonna get back to Doc in a minute. But let's talk about the Clay injury with an ACL. Do you find it? And I know that our buddy Johnny L. Sloan, his son Jay had one of those, and you work with a lot of people with that.
Yeah.
Do those injuries generally happen on the jump or on the land? Because it looks like that happened on the land last night.
So it's not it's in mechanics, man. It's not just the jump or the land. It's also like how attentive is the mind to the body and how it's a subject called proprioception. And
Okay.
it's a subject that identifies the mind inside of each muscle. We call it the Golgi tendon organ. And every muscle, like kids who flip, have no fear in the air. You get what I'm
Right.
saying?
Right.
Because their bodies are just in tune and their body understands the motion that they need, the amount of explosiveness they need to snatch their knees up to flip. You
Okay.
know what I mean?
Okay.
A person who does not flip, their body has none of that neurology anywhere. So when you look in the NBA and you got guys who have ACL tears, I think that a lot of that has to do with having such a high level of proprioceptive awareness in your system
Okay.
that it just takes a real freak situation and a lack of good mechanics in a small moment to cause that to happen. He
Okay.
didn't decelerate properly. He landed on one leg and looked away and lost attention. He didn't bend his knees. He didn't land with 2 feet. He landed on one and turned. So
Okay.
like simple things like that. It's the game, man. It's just you can help prevent injuries by making yourself get to a certain point.
Okay. Okay.
At that point, you are competing at a level where injuries happen in a miraculous, incredible movement and amount of speed. You know,
Okay.
you get what I'm
Now,
saying? I could talk that all
yeah,
day,
yeah,
man.
no, I totally get it. And so going back to you, Doc, um, and I don't want to just throw all the Fred questions or the Rockford questions to you, but
Right.
you actually posted a picture that I found very interesting. You posted a picture of, and I believe it was you. I don't think it was Scooby. Posted a picture of Fred VanVleet with a cut above his eye from Wichita State, and we saw him go out in the last game or a couple games ago with the stitches and lost the two. Now that's different from an Achilles tear. That's different from an ACL injury. But what Kris is talking about, and Kris, I hope I'm saying it right, proprioceptive, like that brain in the muscle or the nerves, whatever. Talk about how you feel that toughness was bred in this guy to where, if it's injury after injury or, little thing after little thing, he was able to bounce back. I mean, I still got a cut under my eye from college, and it reminds me every day of that play, but also the things that I had to do going forward with that. But can you talk about like just the toughness of this kid?
Well, first and foremost, one, I always tell people, Fred is just was a special, unique child,
Okay.
and everybody, everybody has something in them. You just have to play that part.
Okay.
And I think with his dad, uh, Joe, being from the military, he had, just that mental toughness, so that just compounded on top of what Fred already had in him.
Okay.
And now you're doing this every day, getting up at 5 o'clock in the morning, going to go work out before you go to school as a elementary kid, and then coming back home and then got to go back to school. Yeah, 5 o'clock in the morning. He had him working out at 5 o'clock. It was just like he was in the military. He had him
Okay.
getting up, working out, and going back and doing a thing. And then by the time, I got to coaching, I was the same, type way, just, no nonsense, wanted to win, play hard. I didn't care. Just give it all you got. I didn't care who we went up against. I didn't
Right.
care what their name was. It was just, so it was just like, and he had that already, so it was just, I've seen him play with one eye in the championship game at AAU. He had a full blown closed eye like Rocky,
Really?
closed all the way up. Candace Quinn was the medical trainer. She was like, Doc, he is not allowed to play. He would not play. He needs too many stitches.
Wait a minute.
And
You
he
say
looked at her like,
he and his twin? He has a twin?
no, Candace Quinn.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Candace was the trainer
Okay.
on site. And she was like, Doc, I can't authorize this. And he was like, you don't have to authorize it because I'm playing. And went out and scored almost 30 points and led us in the championship game with one eye.
Wow.
So
Now was that what I affectionately called a shot heard around Illinois?
no, that was the game when we played Cherry Porter Elite.
Okay. Okay.
And we were a little bit younger than them, and without a second question, he just caught the ball and shot it from the volleyball line with 3 seconds left.
In rhythm too.
Yep, just it's over with.
Wow. So now, and I'm gonna get back to Kris in a second. Tell us about the 815 and the makeup of the people of Rockford, so maybe they can understand a little bit why you and I are talking about this so much now. And I mean, Rockford has had great basketball players for a long time. But just talk about the makeup of Rockford. I'm gonna get back to Kris with some more of his expert analysis. But talk to us about the people of Rockford and how we see that and Fred VanVleet on the national
Yeah.
stage?
Well, the biggest thing is one, Rockford has had such a dark light on it for
Mm,
so long.
okay.
One, we're being right by Chicago. So we got kind of looked over for basketball wise because it was
Okay.
Chicago, Milwaukee, all the time.
Okay. Okay.
Uh, so we always have to go out and prove ourselves. All the high schools, each team, every kid there has always had, you know, that we were allowed to coach, play with a chip on their shoulder,
Okay.
whatever. And then, being from Rockford, Rockford is little. You got to deal with, the normal stuff, the racism, the knock on most kids aren't going to make it out of here, going to be dead or in jail by
Mm,
the time you're 18.
mm-hmm.
You won't go to college. So a lot of these kids that were making it, they were first generation high school graduates.
Wow.
Let
High school graduates.
let alone thinking about college.
Right.
So now these kids are defeating and defying all these odds, and they're putting Rockford on a map, in a great light. There's so
Right.
many positives, out of Rockford, Illinois. People wouldn't know it, but there are a lot of positive situations, a lot of positive people that are doing a lot of great things in Rockford.
Mm-hmm.
And Fred now on a national stage has opened it up even more,
Right.
and then that shout out to Rockford,
Yeah, that was
meant
big.
meant a lot. A lot of the people that are from there when they make sure every single time they get a opportunity, they make sure that hey, we from Rockford. When we won the AAU Nationals down in Florida, uh, the lady at ESPN, she said, "Y'all from?" She said, "No, we from Rockford."
Yep.
We made sure that we knew, hey, this is Rockford, Illinois. This is not Chicago. Anything because they just automatically assume, okay, if you hoop, you got to be from
From
Chicago.
Chicago, and it's
Right,
and it's no knock to Chicago. I mean,
right,
we've
exactly.
all
Not a
been
knock.
there,
Right,
but
not a knock.
I think it says something that the people of Rockford, or and like Kris has worked in Bourbonnais, the Kankakee area for like years, but it says something when people can take ownership of part of what's part of them and
Yeah,
what have helped make them, and then for him to shout it out and give back was
that was
huge,
huge. Yes, that
huge.
was huge.
Kris, now let me ask you because I know that that you got a client in a minute, and we gonna come back, and I'm a education and information and everything at another time. But can you talk about real fast the importance of understand? I've been talking about it for the past like week or so. Understand, like the importance of playing hurt and playing injured, and how I didn't feel quite. I'm not a doctor, but I didn't feel comfortable because I understand the difference in playing hurt and playing injured. With Durant playing with whatever they said was wrong with him, and talking about if he's 70 or 75%, he can come back. Can you talk about like what percentage, like in your field, how do you gauge that? Like when do you shut them down? And I've seen you shut your clients down.
Yeah.
Like, can you gauge that for us?
So like there's certain uh absolute numbers in
Okay.
athleticism. And I know for a fact that team graded it as a calf strain for publicity purposes only
Okay. Okay.
to leave the door open to be able to allow him to come back.
Okay.
If they had a said Achilles tendon tear or a rupture
Right.
before, then that's a big no, man. It's
Okay.
that's like you can out loud say malpractice that way, but
Right.
they can pull strong to a calf strain, you know. It's
Okay.
it's really sad what they did though. I really don't think that people consider how much team doctors can define a whole athlete's career.
Yeah.
There are a lot of young men who play for the 76ers whose careers are completely devastated by
Oh, okay.
poor
Okay.
treatment for their bodies. And
Okay.
you have to trust this organization, who is out for ratings, and you would think that they would take good care of you, and they have all good intentions, but a lot of times, in athletic situations, like in professional situations, they are very, very ignorant of the future of the young athlete.
Mm-hmm.
They couldn't care less. You
Mm-hmm.
know,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I understand he went out there with full and good intentions, but that was extraordinarily inappropriate
Mm-hmm.
on
Mm-hmm.
so many levels. Like at that level, you want them to give it all, and you got this mythological view system of sacrifice.
Right.
This game is a temporary job.
Right. Right.
It's not like you can be like, I'm sacrificing this, I'm gonna come back. Nah, man, you are sacrificing your career, and so fans
Yeah.
heavy into that idea of he's real. I respect your respect means nothing to his grandchildren or his children,
Right.
you
Right.
know, and so a lot of
And
that has, yeah,
and you know,
it's real.
people actually got on Derrick Rose when he said, "I want to be able to walk to my son's graduation." I
Yeah,
want to be, and like they clowned him. Like
yeah.
dude, but it's so talk about how, because I don't think a lot of people understood it. But talk about like how the calf is related to the Achilles. Like,
Uh,
I mean, because to me,
so
like it was a no-brainer.
the heel itself, the calcaneus bone, that's your impact bone, and then so there's a tendon there that connects from the heel to the calf, and
Mm,
its job is to keep them connected to one another and take impact and change of direction. So if it were a calf injury, it would have most likely happened when he landed or was jumping the first time, but
okay.
it didn't. It happened in that, what everybody's talking about, the kick in the back. I've seen that kick in the back twice. And I've known of another one, a guy, Ty Streets. I know he knows about it.
Hmm.
When he was before the draft, I remember hearing about that. It's real, man. You like
Right.
you understand that Kevin Durant's from his heel to his calf has got to be almost 18 inches, man.
Mm,
Like a lot of people don't realize like how long that is
right.
on a person, So to be honest with you, the first incident was a freak incident, but that second one was 100% avoidable.
Right.
So
Right.
it's
What's the what's the
huh?
recovery timeline? Because everybody's saying he's out for a year. You
Yeah.
deal with this all the time. If you were his recovery trainer, um, what would the timeline be, and how would that look like? And for those people that watch this that may have athletes with injuries like that, listen to what Kris is saying, and then you want to get in contact with Kris, because this is why he has such great results with his clients. He knows the number, but probably over $1 million plus in scholarships that he's been able to help his athletes with, because he gets them to be properly. You hear all the terminology he's using. So he's just not out there saying, okay, lift this, lift that. He's actually judging the athlete and then putting a specialized program together for them. Is that right, Kris?
Yeah. I'm at 2.71 million in scholarships now.
Wow, 2.17.
Yeah.
So how does that look?
2.7. No. 2.71.
Oh, two, yeah. Give you that extra 600,000.
Yeah, big difference. But no, listen. So the recovery, I would say, is 18 months. The hardest part is the psychological part, to be able to trust your body again. I also think that Kevin Durant may go through a heavy psychological issue with trusting his leg because of the second playing.
Yeah.
Um, so I think, I mean, people don't really understand what it means to go from being a 7 foot tall guard who moves like guards
Yeah. Yeah.
when
Yeah.
7 footers used to move like Mutombo.
Right. Right.
And
Right.
Mutombo had bad knees from that capacity of
Right.
athleticism. So when you really consider it, you just hope that the sciences are just evolved properly and this young man can trust himself again. But I think that he comes back more like Dirk Nowitzki than anything else.
Okay. Okay.
He's got to be more of a basket guy. That depends on cleverness than his first step. If he
Yeah.
doesn't get past that psychological barrier, because jumping freely he was already jumping less. You know, if you think about how his game has been
Yeah.
in
Yeah.
comparison to the way it was in Texas and when he was in Oklahoma,
Right.
he would attack the bucket and realize he was 7 feet and just
Yeah.
pound on people
Mhm.
over and over and over again. You know,
Mhm.
so I
Mhm.
really see that from him. And actually, jumper is so water that he really doesn't have to do it.
Right. Right. And kind of again going back to Derrick Rose, we've seen the evolution, which is why he's much more comfortable now because he's put his game with where his body is at now, instead of trying to
I mean,
be
it's
that.
just have to do.
Yeah.
It's just have to do. I mean, that's like realistic. Like right now, I mean, man. I used to be able to jump clean over a car, man, without a running start. You know what I mean? Like clean without a running start, like
Okay.
drops over the. I'm saying, and
Wow.
yeah, I can't even think about working towards landing like that again because of how violent that was on my left.
Right. Right.
So,
Okay.
you know what I mean? So you got
Yeah.
to really consider like where the mind goes after its expectation has changed for an extended period of time.
Now, what you just said, and I'm gonna see how if I'm paying attention. What you just said goes back to that proprioceptive point,
Yeah,
right?
your body has an expectation that it can like how you can always ride a bike,
Okay.
how you can always know how to swim, how a baby just doesn't fall anymore once it figures out. It's just
Wow.
their gait and their balance and basic things like understanding mobility. And so like after a year and a half of like, I say 18 months, man. I think he needs
Okay.
like 18 months straight. If they bring him back any sooner, you'll definitely see more of a Dirk Nowitzki kind of player.
Okay.
So
Okay.
You have an incoming
my
call.
client is calling me right now.
Yep. All right.
Hold on. I got it. But
Okay.
anyway.
Now, so how can people reach you? Like, and I failed to disclose everything. Kris Calmese Fitness. How can people get in contact with you, especially parents? Because I mean, listen to this. I done got so educated. I'm pretty sure before Doc had to run, he got educated. How can people get in contact with you so that they can get the services that you offer? And you just don't work with people dealing with injuries, correct?
Right.
Okay. So how can they get in contact with you?
Yeah, I practice intervention mechanisms. I believe in the kinesthetic process, learning the body through a gradual process and not just throwing a person into the fire. So
Okay.
my methodology, it's ever evolving, and I'm trying to continually learn, and eventually it'll make sense, but to everyone. But right now I'm operating in 3 different locations, looking at just being the traveling trainer, being able to service people at different places. Um, from people who have multiple sclerosis, to help to reduce inflammation through an alkaline-based diet and hydration, extending the lung capacity. So I believe in the body, the way that it was created, and but the way to reach me is just email me, KRSCALMESE@yahoo.com. Yeah, I still use Yahoo. Never failed me. And just contact me and shoot me some questions and see if I can meet your needs. But yeah, man, I mean, so far we've been going pretty well. I used to service about 130 people a month. And now I keep the numbers down so I can give more of a concentrated science.
Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, to where your clients are always a name and not just a number.
Right.
Yeah.
Because it really is tough doing that, man. And if you when you consider science as a whole, like injuries, like we're discussing injuries, a lot of people don't understand that injuries cannot truly be 100% prevented,
Right.
just like car accidents can't be.
Right.
But you can learn how to drive better, and you can
Yeah.
get really good insurance.
Yeah.
You know.
All right, man. So, Kris, give it to us again, man. We're gonna come back next week, and we're gonna have a full-fledged show with you because I got a whole different list of questions that I want to ask you that I've already prepared from when we first talked. But doing this show today, I wanted to talk about Doc with the 815 with Fred, and because it was a second injury in the finals. And everybody is going to be talking about what should happen, what shouldn't happen. And I think that, and I didn't want to say it, but you said everything I said, and you're more of an expert at it with me. I thought that in hindsight is 2020. It was the perfect opportunity to hang on the rim, so you come down right. But it was, like you said, landed on one foot, looked backwards.
Careless.
It was a whole lot of things that went into play.
A lot of factors
with what happened. But I know you got to run again. Give us the email address, the Yahoo, how they can reach you, and then we're gonna come back on next week and bless them again.
Yeah, my email is krscalmese@yahoo.com. Hello, young lady. Thanks,
there you
man.
go. You got it. All right, Kris, man, I know you got to run. I thank you for blessing us this morning. Y'all go check out Coach Kris Calmese and Calmese Fitness, and he'll be back next week
on Facebook.
Yep, and hit him up on Facebook. All right, my brother, I'll talk to you a little bit later.
Bye.
Yes, sir. Peace. All right, Doc, welcome back, man. I know that you're busy and doing a whole lot of moving. Can you hear me, Doc? See if I can get Doc Cornell back for a minute. Doc, can you hear me? Okay, well, while we waiting on Doc, so while we're waiting on Doc, Fred VanVleet set an NBA record yesterday for the most threes made by a player coming off the bench. He was 5 from 11 from three-point range, which is a little bit less than 50%, which is amazing when we're talking about three-point shots. There's an old saying, and I have it. I think it's 90, 40, 50, 90, 50, 40 list. 90, 50, 40 club. And 90, 50, 40 club is when a player has 50%, or it's a 50, 40, 90 club. I'm sorry. Player has at or above 50% field goal range, 40% three-point range, and 90% free throws. So if we're talking about 5 from 11, that's over that 40%. That's amazing. I'm not sure if we're going to be to get Doc back on or not, but we're going to come back with Doc as well and let him explain everything that he is doing now. He's in Dearborn, Michigan with the Lady Hype Hoopers. Now he's on the women's side, and he's teaching women the same thing that he's been teaching the young men for decades now. Great coach, again, in Michigan, Dearborn, Michigan, by way of Rockford. Again, Hype Lady Hoopers. Hype Lady Hoopers, you definitely want to go check them out. The team and the program is still going on prime time. That's what Fred VanVleet played with Coach Doc Cornell. So again, if you have not picked up your copy of Understanding Life Through the Game of Basketball, go pick it up. Go pick up this copy, Understanding Life Through the Game of Basketball. It's going to take you on an amazing journey to get you to understand a little bit more the things that's needed, the things that you need to pull from basketball to be able to understand life. So, as I always say, strive for the top because it's crowded as hell at the bottom. Y'all be good. Peace.